a huge part of having a solid ride is being able to tuck your chin. And like I said, when a bull is anywhere from 16 to 1,800 pounds and you're, 150, it's kind of hard to do sometimes.
Welcome to the Next Level podcast. I'm your host, Scott Dickinson. The following is an interview with Antwon Burton. Antwon is a 6-year NFL veteran and the executive director for PBR Sports Performance. So Antwon trains professional bull riders, and as it turns out, that involves training the neck. We met when PBR brought in NecksLevels for the first ever professional bull riding combine. In this podcast, we dive into bull riding, neck training, and how you go from the NFL to PBR. Thank you, Antwon, and I hope you enjoy. Antwon, welcome to the Next Level podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man.
So you are the owner of NecksLevel Fitness, and now you're on the Next Level podcast. How does that feel, and whose name is better?
Well, I think there's a lot of next levels out there. The fact that you have NECKS, I think it's a little more clever because next level is used extensively throughout a lot of training facilities, but I kind of like yours better.
All right. So can you talk to me about what you're doing in Pueblo, Colorado at the PBR Sports Performance Center? Can you talk to me about what you guys are up to there, please?
So, like you said, I was the owner of Next Level Performance, and I ended up getting bought out by PBR and hired on as the executive director at the PBR Sport Performance Center, which is the first ever Western sports performance specific center in the world. 18,000 square feet, full-on recovery room, and it's somewhat specifically for Western sport. Obviously my background is not, bull riding. And so we do a little more here as well. We got some UFC fighters. We do NFL draft prep. We do some corporate team building. Here at the end of September, we're going to have USA Boxing here. We're going to have about 200 international boxers, local gravel cycling. We're going to have about 1,200 riders come through downtown Pueblo. So we do a few different things, but we focus on bull riding.
So for those who don't know, can you elaborate on the goal of a bull rider when they begin their sport? What is the objective for a bull rider?
I gotta be honest with you, it's pretty simple, bro. Stay in the middle.
But for how long?
8 seconds. 8 seconds. So the goal is, some of these bulls, or not some of them, all of them are, at least 16, 1,800 pounds, and some of the best stock contractors in the world. And, a lot of these guys are, the typical frame for a bull rider could be anywhere from about, 5'4" to about 5'6", 7', 8", 135 pounds to maybe 155 pounds. So, the contrast and what that looks like is definitely a big difference. But, there's a lot of things that coincide with them staying on that bull as far as posture, groin strength, neck strength, forearm strength, grip, flexibility, stability. So there's a lot of things that coincide from the performance side of it all.
So how often are they successful, these bull riders, in staying on for the 8 seconds? Is this like a rare feat, or is this relatively common?
So for the UTB, which is the Unleash the Beast, which is the top 35 in the world, it fluctuates from anywhere from about 27% to about 35% of riders will cover their bull per event.
So covering the bull is going 8 seconds. And have you ever been up on a bull?
I have not. And I do not necessarily foresee it in my future. I'm 39, I'm pushing 40 here. And just for me to try to work out consistently is kind of where I'm at in my journey in life right now.
And for the prototype of a professional bull rider, you are not that frame. You're about double the weight, correct?
I'd say more like triple or quadruple. I'm a D tackle. That's about the most I can do in sport. defensive tackle.
So there are ridiculous demands in both football and probably even more specific demands for professional bull riders. Can you talk to me about the specific demands that you guys are training at your facility for the pro bull riders?
Like I said, I spearheaded the first ever PBR combine, which was last March, because we're going into the first ever team series, which is we have 8 teams in 8 different cities: Texas, Austin, Nashville, Kansas City, Arizona, Carolina, Missouri, and Oklahoma. I might be missing one or two, but it's head-to-head bull riding, 5-on-5, and like I said, I was able to spearhead that first PBR combine, and a lot of things we focused on were your grip strength, your body fat percentage. So nutrition is a huge thing, and you were gracious enough to allow us to utilize NecksLevel for our grip strength and neck strength portion of it all, because a huge part of having a solid ride is being able to tuck your chin. And like I said, when a bull is anywhere from 16 to 1800 pounds and you're 150, it's kind of hard to do sometimes. So just like any other sport, when one thing is out of whack, the whole thing kind of goes off tilt. So these are some of the things that we like to implement in our training, and be able to create the baseline and the analytics of what a bull rider is supposed to be from a performance standpoint. And honestly, NecksLevel was an intricate part of our progress in the sport and far as performance is concerned.
It's so funny how my world came into pro bull riding, because for physical therapists, we work all the time on these muscles called the deep neck flexors, which you're familiar with. Those are
Mm-hmm.
the muscles that tuck the chin and prevent it from falling into extension. And then the first time you and I Zoom, we're talking about the deep neck flexor exercise you can do on the NecksLevel. And you guys, like you and the bull rider trainer slash bull rider that was using the product, was, well, you guys, like, something clicked for you guys right away. You're like, oh, you can work on that, because previously I believe you guys were like using a tennis ball between the chin and the sternum. Is that
Correct.
correct? And so why is it so important that they keep their chin down? Like, what's going on there?
Because it allows you to be able to hold your posture. So your chest is kind of supposed to be over your knees, while you're squeezing your legs on the bull. So it's really creating symmetry while being tossed by a rhinoceros. The symmetry in the sport is so um, it's just such an important part, because one false move, just like anything else, a golf swing or something of that nature, one thing is off, then you're off tilt, and then when you're off tilt, then you're catching up, and to be able to catch your body up to a bull that's spinning and kicking, it's a tall task for some of the best in the world. So being able to have your chin tucked, being able to have a big chest, being able to have a strong hand in your bull rope, being able to squeeze. It's hard for 8 seconds, and so to be able to develop consistency in your body's posture and symmetry is a huge part of covering a bull, or the bulls at the highest level for 8 seconds.
I guess the opposite of keeping that chin tuck, it would be similar to like a bobblehead where your head's just flying around, and that obviously would be terrible for stability and for your equilibrium on the bull. Like you said, you have to stay centered, right? Uh, so it's such a dangerous sport, and I have to imagine there are injuries that are common. Can you talk about the most common injuries in professional bull riding?
So some of the most common, would probably lie in the hip flexor, groin, and shoulder, because the whole point of it is to be able to have consistent symmetry, but you're holding on with one hand. So that's what kind of gets your body off that line of symmetry. So that's wherein lies some of the most injuries. And being able to have a strong neck is something that allows those things from kind of the top of your head, to your heels to be able to kind of keep that in balance.
All right. And so when a bull rider is bucked off of the bull, are they commonly injured in that process, like concussions, broken bones, things like that? Does that happen?
So, one of the biggest things as far as, concussions or things of that nature is if you can kind of, you buck back and you buck forward and you can't kind of keep your posture and you hit your head on the bull's head.
Oh,
So when you come forward, like when you're riding that bull and you come forward, and the bull bucks up as you come forward. That kind of is where you can kind of get hit in the head a little bit, and then your dismount. You could even cover a bull, and if a bull is still bucking, and you're kind of close with your dismount, you can for sure catch a hoof, to the back of the head, and but they got 100X helmets, which is one of the best helmet companies in the world for some of these riders, and it saved a lot of lives for sure.
so if I'm not mistaken, like the specialized training for professional bull riders has to be relatively new. It has to be in its infancy. Like, have you guys, since you've opened up the facility and started doing some really specific training for these professional athletes, have you
Mhm.
guys or have the bull riders seen an improvement in their performance?
100%, 100%. Something to implement nutrition and different performance techniques and kind of how to train and what are the things that are important. I think in anything when you specify, you know, your sport and what you need to be successful, sometimes it's not even necessarily the performance. It really is the longevity because being healthy is how you get paid. And the longer you can ride, the more consistent and you can ride without injury, allows more opportunities to be able to put money in your pocket. So this is something that, the sport is definitely growing. And, make no mistakes about it. Bull riding in Western sports culture is 1000%, somewhat niche, and it is extremely popular. And the things that, sport performance and our PBR teams, we're global as far as Mexico, Brazil, Australia, Canada, of course, the United States. This is something that is growing, exponentially, and a lot of our sponsors are building. A lot of our TV time is building. Um, you know, um, Signed a deal with Pluto just a year ago, and this is a sport that is 1000%, growing and kind of becoming a little more traditional in its techniques as far as how the company is ran and as well as performance and sponsorship and something that honestly I was plucked from obscurity. I'm 300-pound black dude working for that went to Temple. Shout out Philly Temple, but it's something that I never thought that it'd be something that I'm excited about and passionate about, and I truly am, and to be able to see the sport grow and the company and organization that I work for and the things that they're trying to do to be progressive and again, our sister company is UFC, and we're under the umbrella of Endeavor, which is one of the largest multimedia uh, entities in the world, and those things hold weight, and to be a part of that team and a cog in the wheel of that narrative, it's definitely been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, it feels like the sky's kind of the limit for your guys' sport because it's definitely if it's not in the mainstream now, it feels like it's going to be. So that is very exciting. And what when we think about the professional bull riders, what kind of career span are they shooting for? Is this like are there Tom Brady's of the sport where guys are 43 years old and having success? Is it like a 5-year endeavor? What kind of longevity do you see if things are going well?
So, you got guys like, Just Lockwood, who, literally left his, high school prom and then, went on to win 2 world championships, at 19, 20 years old and, won $1 million. And you got guys like Joel, who's, anywhere in the top 5. I want to say he's 37 years old. And, we got a guy who, he bounces from the Velocity Tour and UTB, which is kind of like that, JV varsity kind of thing. And Vin Johns, he's 48 years old. And
Whoa.
yeah, but Vin is a freak of nature. He was in the Olympics. I want to say for gymnastics. He's been on Ninja Warrior. He's an anomaly. 48 years old is an anomaly. But everybody's careers are a little bit different. But to kind of I think maybe 6 to 8 years. But you definitely could go 10 plus, and there are some forms of Tom Brady's within a sport. Cody Nance, he's up there. But like any other sport, your body breaks down like any other sport. So nobody can beat Father Time. I don't care what sport you're playing.
For sure. And so, given your background with professional football, can you tell me a little bit about how you got into strength and conditioning? Because it's not like every professional athlete then transitions into training. So, can you talk about your process from going from professional athlete to strength and conditioning coach?
Um, so me personally, I think mine's is a little different, I guess. Just like professional athletes who are done with their career, they kind of don't know what to do. It takes them about a year to say, well, all right, shit, what am I going to do next? And and I wanted to be away from sport, because once you kind of are done with your football career, you don't really want to be in it. And so me, I got into the music business, and I was in there for about 2.5 years, and did some shows and some collabs with Good Charlotte, Keith Buckley, White Tie Fair, Hoodie Allen. And at that time, 2010, 11, the music game was kind of changing. So I lost a lot of money, gained a lot of experience, but lost a lot of money. And, I kind of was like, all right, well, that didn't necessarily work. So what's next? And, my background, and I've spoken on this before, so it's not, don't feel bad for me in any aspect. But, me, I was homeless 3.5 years, drug addicted parent. And I was able to overcome a lot of things. And when I got to that end of the music business, it was like, all right, you've experienced music, you've experienced the NFL, you've experienced D1, and you're from the bottom, you're from the mud. So, how can you, best relate the things that you've learned, to our youth? And, training was it. And, once training became something that I wanted to do, it was like, all right, I want to be, good at it. So, I kind of traveled the country about a lot of my friends and facilities. I did an NFL combine for Brandon Marshall, the receiver over at Fit Speed, which is now House of Athlete. I did Football University, which is a national, high school football elite camp. I did my intern at Exos in Carlsbad in San Diego. And I just kept learning and learning and having experiences. And, I implemented it in, the people that I trained. And, I started just because, shit, you want to make money. So I wasn't like, I'm going to be this D-line guru. I'm going to be this, so I had, soccer moms, little kids, elite athletes, professional athletes. And, it just kind of turned into something. And I always had like an entrepreneurial spirit. And, I did that for about 2 years. And then I built my own media company, which was called NecksLevel Media. And, we put together, we had a podcast, and we did video and content. We built apps. We actually did Magic City for the Super Bowl one year in Atlanta, when the Super Bowl was in Atlanta. I think the Rams were playing somebody, I can't remember. we did things for restaurants, hotels, go-kart places. And, I ended up doing a docuseries, More Than Football. So I rented out a 5,000 square foot mansion, and I documented these five guys that I were getting ready for the draft. And I did it a little different. I brought in real estate agents, car salesmen, financial advisors to talk about your first contract, purchasing your first car, your first home. We did Bible studies. I wanted to be a little more in depth than the typical, hey, we're going to make your 40 faster, because, I believe in those things. But, at the end of the day, Cooper Kupp is probably one of the best receiver. Well, he is the best receiver in the league. He ran a 4.75. And, a lot of these facilities, make their money off, we're going to get you a 4.2, 4.3. And, there's just more to the sport than that. And me being an undrafted free agent, I definitely, took on the business side of it for sure. You know what I mean? I wasn't a first rounder or anything like that. So a lot of things I learned and soaked up. And, doing that docuseries, PBR ended up seeing it. And they invited me in, I guess, for an interview, I guess. And, kind of the rest was history. So.
Yeah, so you don't have any formal training as a bull rider, strength and conditioning coach. So can you talk a little bit about what that transition was like and not having much of a background there?
It wasn't as big a transition as you would think. And it's because of the way that I've trained under people and how I've been mentored. And then my own kind of level of, not to be arrogant, my own level of athleticism. I'm a big dude, but, I can play tennis. I can swing a baseball bat. I was all state in basketball, track, shot put. I was that kid for, Christmas. I wanted everything that had to do with sports. So I see things a little different. And a lot of people like to, proclaim themselves gurus or something of that nature. But, at the end of the day, your core is your core. Your hamstrings are your hamstrings. Your grip is your grip. I don't care if you're, grabbing another, 300-pound offensive lineman as a D tackle, or you're holding on to a rope of a 1,600-pound animal. So someone like me, I was very open-minded, to take on that task and challenge. And, there's a lot of things that I've been able to create, just kind of off the naked eye. And, my own athleticism, my own experience. And it's something that, honestly, I quite enjoy. So, like I said, you would think that it's something that wouldn't fit, but it's actually something that fit me and suited me pretty well.
So does where you find yourself today in Pueblo, Colorado, does that happen to be a hub for professional bull riding? Like, was that always the case? And do you have a lot of riders stationed around your area and they come and train with you? Like, how does it work?
So Pueblo is where PBR headquarters is, as well as the Sport Performance Center. The thing about riders, they're on the road every weekend. There's a bull riding every weekend. So this is something that they can kind of stop into as they're going through town. And then, they have anywhere from about a month or two off season, where guys, want to come in, get healthy. Guys come in from maybe, 4 or 5 days at a time. A lot of guys have RVs and double wides. And so they park at the RV park, and, they stay there, and then, they work out 4 or 5 days, kind of get themselves back on track, and, go on to the next city. So that's kind of how it looks and how the sport looks. And, in the middle of some of those things, like I said, UFC, NFL draft prep, things of that nature kind of coincide within the facility here.
So you and I both know Raquel Pennington. That's actually how we got connected, who's a UFC fighter. Can you talk about training her and perhaps training her neck and what you guys are doing in that light?
Well, anybody that is susceptible to get, kicked, punched, or, kneed in the face, they would, have to have, a strong neck. And, training Raquel is, and I'm not just saying it because I train her. She's definitely going to be a champion one day. She has a heart of a champion. I have never I think I've trained Raquel since 2019 or 20. I can't remember, but I cannot remember a time, even if she was, she just had a fight and then she ate whatever she wanted for a month and went on vacation and came. I've never not seen her go 1,000% in a workout, like ever. So she's definitely a warrior, someone who, she's on a 4-fight win streak since 2020. I want to say she's ranked number 4 right now. So she's, a fight away from, fighting for the title. And to be able to train her and kind of, you know, replenish her athleticism, because she was a great basketball player in high school, obviously a wrestler, played softball, and she's a Colorado girl, so she does a lot of outdoor things, rock climbing, things of that nature. And us kind of coming together allowed us to again kind of replenish that athleticism that lies within her, because she can do a lot of things outside of just fighting. And being able to train her in that aspect, and then being able to implement a neck strength, because sometimes you do that resistance with your hand. They got that iron neck thing out there that I don't know, I think it's kind of weird. I don't know, I have this like weird halo on your head or whatever. Can I say that? Is that bad? Can I say that?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay. And it's something that is um, something very important, because obviously your neck is connected to a lot of things in your body as far as nerves and all that good stuff. And to be able to implement NecksLevel, it's definitely something that makes Raquel a better fighter, and it's something and a tool that I'm thankful to be able to utilize with an athlete of that caliber, knowing you're one-on-one in the cage, and to be able to have everything tight and ready to go. It's definitely a great tool to have, and something that has been successful here in her training experience for sure.
Well, I'm honored to hear you say that. It is always good to hear that kind of feedback. So thank you. For those who don't know, where can people reach you at? Are you on Instagram? What kind of stuff are you up to on social media? And then please tell us, what is love?
um, so you can reach me on Instagram at PBR_SPC. Not on Twitter, Facebook, PBR SPC, and website PBRSPC.com. And love is, love is something I think we all need. And, I gave you a brief stint of what my background was, and, my upbringing, and, especially in today's world, at the end of the day, I want to be able to receive love. I want to be able to give it. And, you know, and especially me, as you can see, my chest takes up, all the screen. So I'm a pretty intimidating dude, but, that doesn't mean I don't have love in my heart. And, I just, want to be able to project it, and, you know, something I feel like everyone should have. And, everybody, wants to be for self, and, everybody wants to win. And that's something I understand. And that's just a part of life. But, it's nothing wrong with having a little love and what that is. So, I represent it. You feel me?
I feel you, and your clothes represented as well. So I appreciate it, Antwon. Thanks for the time today, and I'm excited to hear the feedback from this.
For sure. Love.